Okay, valence bond theory. The Lewis model, obviously, is an oversimplification of what's going on. So valence bond theory is a somewhat more advanced bonding theory that is applying quantum mechanics to molecules. So these modern approaches are quantitative and involve, some really hefty calculations, usually done on computers and simulations. And these calculations can predict properties of molecules like bond length, bond strength, geometries, etc. We're not going to look at this in a quantitative manner. We're going to look just at it a qualitative manner. So we're not going to be doing any crazy math. We're just going to look at this qualitatively. So electrons reside in quantum mechanical orbitals that are localized on individual atoms. And this is, from chapter 10. So these could be standard orbitals, S, P, D, F atomic orbitals. That's what we've learned about. Or they can be hybridized atomic orbitals. So you can take an S and two P orbitals and kind of hybridize them. It's like an average, but not quite. So what happens here when two atoms approach each other, the electrons and nucleus of each atom are going to interact with those of the other. We've got repulsion between the nuclei and repulsion between the electrons, but then we have an attraction between the electrons of one and the nucleus of the other, right? And so a bond will form if a lowering of energy occurs. So valence bond theory is looking at energy changes that result from these interactions. If the interactions lower the energy, a bond forms. If they don't, a bond doesn't form. So let's look at the interaction of two hydrogen atoms. Let's just start with the really simple one. So this graph is showing energy. So this is higher energy and this is lower energy. This is zero. And so you could think of this as sea level, and this is climbing up the mountain, and this is under the water, and maybe we're starting at sea level, but here a ball would roll down under the water, right? It's still going to go down. So this is the most desirable place, it's the lowest, the most negative energy. Over here we have the distance between the two hydrogens. So over here we have two hydrogen atoms, and they're kind of getting close to each other. It's like, I see you. And there's a little bit of interaction. They may be a little bit attracted to each other. As they get closer, their orbitals begin to overlap, and this lowers their energy. And then they get closer yet, and we have this maximum ideal amount of interaction, and this is the lowest energy. But then if they continue to get closer, all of a sudden now it's getting a little repulsive, right? So you can imagine this happening with two people, right? You see this very attractive person, and as you get closer, you're more and more attracted to them. But then there's this, you get to a point you're talking with each other, and this is really nice, but then if they're one of those close talkers and they get into your personal space, now it kind of doesn't matter how cute they are, you're like, back up, right? So there's this ideal distance, and that's the bond length for a hydrogen molecule. And the energy here is the bond energy. Any questions?
So this is like an example of hydrogen gas?
Yeah, this would be an H2 molecule. Two hydrogen atoms. Why do they stick together? Because it lowers their energy. So each of these hydrogen atoms has one electron. And if they come together and each share an electron, they can have a duet, right? And they can each have an electron configuration like helium, which is a noble gas. It's a lower energy state. And so they bond together because when they do that, they have lower energy than when they don't do that. I can't answer everything because it's too much, right? So the interaction energy is usually negative when those overlapping orbitals have a total of 2 electrons. Because those 2 electrons can spin pair. They can line up with opposite spins. Usually this happens when we have 2 half-filled orbitals that are going to overlap. They each have 1 electron, and they can spin pair, and that will lower the energy. But sometimes you can have a full orbital from one atom and an empty orbital from another atom overlapping, and we still get a pair of electrons in there. That's called a coordinate covalent bond. That's sort of like a charity case, right? It's like, well, I've got 2 electrons and you're just really in bad shape. You don't have any. I'm just going to be super generous and I'll share my 2 electrons with you, and so this can be better. The usual case is each atom is like, hey, I'll share my electron with you if you share your electron with me, and then we'll get together and be attracted to each other. Okay, that's what usually happens. It does matter how close they are. That's where the bond length comes in. They're going to come to a distance between them that is the lowest energy for them. And that's going to vary depending on what the atoms are and what the other atoms in the molecule are. So when the 2 atoms with half-filled orbitals approach, the orbitals overlap and the electrons align with opposite spins. So the idea here is that the valence electrons of atoms in a molecule reside in quantum mechanical orbitals. A bond results from the overlap of 2 half-filled orbitals, and then those 2 electrons are going to spin pair. The geometry of the overlapping orbitals determines the shape of the molecule. So this is all theory, and then it doesn't really make sense until we start to look at examples. It's just all words right now. So let's look at sulfur and hydrogen. So if we look at the orbital diagrams, here's sulfur, and we see that sulfur has 2 half-filled p orbitals, and all of this is valence. These are all valence electrons, because the core electrons are just on the inside, they don't do anything. Here we have a hydrogen with a half-filled orbital and another hydrogen with a half-filled orbital. And so we say, well, this half-filled orbital could overlap with that half-filled orbital, and those electrons could pair up. This would be a good thing. And this one can overlap here, and they'll pair up. And so what we're illustrating here is, here's the sulfur, and this blue is the s orbital, the 3s, and the red ones are the p orbitals. Those are like the dumbbell shapes, 3 to perpendicular. So this one's full, that's this guy right here. This one's half-filled, and it's going to overlap with the half-filled orbital of hydrogen. And then this one is going to overlap with the half-filled orbital of hydrogen. So we got these half-filled orbitals, and they're going to overlap with each other to make pairs. Any questions so far? They overlap because in doing so, it lowers their energy. So in Lewis theory, we were looking at putting things together so that everybody could have an octet of electrons, right? So this is just a more advanced way of thinking about that, because when we do this, then the sulfur is going to have 8 valence electrons now, because it counts the hydrogen's electron along with its own. And so that's how it gets an octet. Yeah. This would be H2S, and we're looking at the atoms individually and then how their orbitals overlap to understand the bonding. Now, this is not complete yet. The problem here is that the bonds that we form here would have 90-degree angles, because that's what angles the p orbitals have. But Vesper theory predicts that this has an angle that's a little less than 109.5 degrees. Like, well, where did you get that from? Well, if we look at the Lewis structure here, That's the Lewis structure for H2S. And the sulfur has 2 lone pairs, right? 2 lone pairs, 2 bonds, tetrahedral electron geometry, bent molecular geometry, and because of these lone pairs, this angle should be less than 109.5, but it's definitely going to be more than 90 degrees. So this is not quite working, something's missing. So the answer to the question, what is a chemical bond, depends on the bonding model you're using. So what is a chemical bond according to valence bond theory? Is it a lone electron pair? Is it the overlap between half-filled atomic orbitals on 2 atoms? The overlap between filled atomic orbitals on 2 atoms? Or a shared electron pair between 2 atoms? B. Yep. Valence bond theory defines a bond as the overlap between half-filled orbitals on 2 different atoms. This description down here would refer to Lewis theory, a shared pair of electrons. Draw what? The difference between B and D. Well, this is where we're talking about the overlap of half-filled orbitals. Lewis theory doesn't get as pictorial as this. It's not as visual. But there we have the Lewis theory would look at it this way. Here I've got hydrogen, and here I've got sulfur. And these are going to share a pair of electrons, that's a chemical bond. These are going to share a pair of electrons, that's a chemical bond. Whereas here we're looking at the overlap of half-filled orbitals. How do you know which theory to use?
Yeah.
Well, we typically use the simplest theory that works.
That's not Lewis.
Well, the Lewis theory doesn't explain some things, like it can't handle resonance, right? And there are other things. And it doesn't really, yeah, I mean, it's very simple, but it doesn't explain everything. And so valence bond theory explains some things that Lewis theory has a problem with.